Okay, here we go. This is part two, work-related stress, focusing in on the stress. So obviously when people are coming to see you, a lot of cases they're in pain, they've been injured, they have a lot of cases, you'll quickly see this connection between their pain and work-related stress. They'll start talking about how much they hate their job, these demands about their job. It is not satisfying to them. So usually the ones you're getting do not have job satisfaction. And a big reason why they don't have job satisfaction is that work-related stress. So you kind of think about work-related stress, see that connection between stress and pain, and then kind of tackle how to assess it and then how to treat it. Okay, work and stress. There's something called the demand control model by Karask and Theorel, which really I think applies to ergonomics, a lot of the work-related stress. It's usually around unrealistic demand, which gives you less perception of control and just leads to this whole cycle of injury, sickness, increases your cortisol levels, you're always in fight or flight mode, increases your muscle tone, more likely to get injured. Examples of this, the first one I can think of is just as an occupational therapist, you're going to be dealing with productivity demands. It can be really high in like a nursing home or a outpatient facility. Really, they're getting high everywhere. So they want you to see so many patients in a day. They want you to have a productivity rate, of a certain percentage. So most of your time is spent seeing patients, and they want you to document as you're seeing the patient. And especially when you're first starting, and usually after you've been there a while too, it can be very unrealistic, and you quickly realize I cannot meet these productivity demands. So I'm always kind of behind the eight ball, trying to catch up. And it's just like this very cycle of stress around productivity demands. It's a great example of the demand control model. And there's so many jobs that are like that. They expect more than you're capable of doing in a given 8-hour day, and you're working overtime, weekends, trying to keep up, that sort of thing. This creates this whole cycle of stress and pain. And it's extremely costly to businesses. The cost in U.S. businesses is estimated, this is really, really dated, I'm sure it's probably even close to double than this right now. Back in 95, it's $200 billion a year of related stress, related injuries and pain, that sort of stuff. 1 million workers are missing the job daily due to stress. Again, this is dated numbers, it's probably even higher now. What causes work-related stress? Again, if you think about jobs that you've had that you have not liked, that have seemed very stressful. Example that pops into mind is being a student, especially towards the end of the semester. You have all these assignments that just kind of, whoa, slam, and you have to get them all done. And you have that demand control thing. You cannot keep up with the demand of all these assignments that your professors are giving you. It leads to stress, your immune system gets beaten down, and you get sick, that sort of stuff. What causes the stress? Not enough time, we talked about that. Other jobs that cause stress, dealing with the public, customer relationships can be very, very stressful, especially around food and stuff. People can be very volatile, unpredictable. You just never know what you're going to be dealing with. Obviously, the physical demands of the job can be stressful, especially if it's leading to pain. You can't keep up. Your supervisor has a huge role in job-related stress. Are they people-friendly? Are they micromanagers? They don't let you do your job, always kind of over your back. Are they abusive? Again, unrealistic demands, cannot keep up. Lack of support. Your relations with your coworkers. A lot of times the coworkers can make or break a job. It's unsafe, just unsafe expectations. You're doing things when you don't feel safe can really lead to stress and lack of satisfaction, that sort of thing. You're chronically short-staffed, so you're, again, the unrealistic demands to cover the gap, or you need more help. Definitely money. If you're not getting enough money to meet your basic needs, for sure. Communication is huge about a job. If there's poor communication, you could just run into all kinds of problems. And this is kind of a small one, but it can be a big one. Just boredom. The job is just so boring. It gets stressful because you're just doing the same thing every day, trying to keep yourself awake. A lot of jobs can be very, very boring, and that can lead to a stress in itself. And these are kind of jobs, they're at the bottom. These that are at the bottom, the opposite in terms of job satisfaction. We'll see pretty quickly there's a connection between jobs that are not satisfying and jobs that cause pain. So poor satisfaction, pain kind of thing. Here's a list from a poll. You see different lists. They have common themes to them if you kind of look at these lists over time. Roofers, I'm not sure. I've never been a roofer. I'm not sure what's involved with that. I'm guessing you're struggling to keep up with the job. It may be boring. I do those sorts of things. Waiters and servers, you're dealing with the public. Usually you're very, very busy running around, trying to get those tips, that sort of thing. Laborers, bartenders, like in the picture, again, dealing with the public. Be very, very busy, I'm sure. A lot of production-related jobs, assembly line kind of related jobs. That's what these are, packers and material handlers. Clothing salesperson, of cashiers. What strikes me with those jobs, you're on your feet all day, it can be physically demanding. But the boredom, just doing the same thing over and over again, dealing with the public. Food, assembly line, food preparers can be very repetitive, boring. Butchers and meat cutters kind of get kind of gross, I would think, in terms of dissatisfaction with that job. I'm just guessing. Here's the kind of connection between jobs that lead to the most injuries. And you can see all these kind of fit those themes of things you would think of are jobs that are not so satisfying. Truck drivers, they're just sitting statically. We're going to look into that with a little bit of next week. So I think I lied earlier. There's actually some material next week that will be on the exam as well, or maybe it's the next thing. I'm sorry. This is the last one. Next week is the exam. Truck drivers, getting back to that, truck drivers, it's a very static job. They're just not moving much. Very hard on their body, very hard on their back. You'll see, if you work in an outpatient clinic long enough, back-related injuries, you see a ton of truck drivers. This guy, what kind of tilt does he have here? He's got that anterior tilt. All right, nursing aides. You see nursing aides, they're kind of running around like a chicken with their head got off. And then there's the injuries. They're doing a lot of transfers. They're back injuries. Again, production workers, lumber loggers, guys who work in the woods. Prison guards, we talked about that one. Meat cutters and butchers, production line kind of thing. And the environment, very cold, repetitive tasks. Janitors, physical demands. And it kind of meets that demand control, job satisfaction thing. So the bottom line to get out of this is that jobs that are not satisfying lead to pain, basically, lead to injuries which lead to pain.